Stop what you're doing in Soccer We Trust YouTube fan, because we have one of the greatest to ever do it for American soccer on the show right now. Hit like and subscribe to show your appreciation, and let's get after it. Yes! What is up, everybody, and welcome to Landon Donovan's favorite podcast in Soccer We Trust. I'm Jimmy Cream Cheese, Trash Can Conrad, also known as Jim, and I'm here with Charlie Chuckwagon Davies and Hollywood Heath Pearce. And boys, we got a very special guest. I'm not even going to get into what I think you want to talk to him about. I just want to bring him on. So without further ado, it's a tale of the tape, and we're going to make it a short one because he doesn't really need any introductions. Mr. Landon Donovan! Oh, hi, Landon. Great to see you as always.
You guys deal with this all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, that was very underwhelming from what I thought, where I thought he was going to go.
You know what? This guy's got a limited time. I just got to get into it.
Landon, what's your height and weight? That's usually in Jimmy's introduction, and he left it out.
6'4", 190.
There we go.
Yes, that's about
there
right.
we go.
I didn't want to make up anything. You know, I wanted to hear from the man himself.
It's pretty lean for 6'4", Landon. I think you're gonna have to tighten up. You're gonna have to tighten up that story a little bit, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so LD, great to see you as always. You're heading to Qatar for the World Cup. Let's just get right into it. What are your hopes and dreams for this particular group of players in a very tough group with Wales, England, and Iran?
Yeah, I hope that my overwhelming hope is that they play carefree. It kind of sounds stupid, but they're all young, and when you're young and you go into a tournament like this, usually you can just play carefree, but because there's no leadership, older players, or not many on the team, I don't want Christian and Weston and Tyler to feel this like pressure to perform. I think they will just play much better if they're carefree. Let guys like Tim Ream and Yedlin, Roldan, like just calm them down behind the scenes, and then just let them go play. Because when they do, they're so electric and can be really, really good.
And when you look at this roster, obviously, in the end, it seemed like Gregg Berhalter went with more experienced players than what I would have expected in terms of age, or players that have represented the national team. Was there any omissions that you were shocked about, or did you expect in the end for them to go to a little bit more of a balance with some veteran or some quote unquote leaders being added to the squad in the end?
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what you guys thought, but I'm obviously Pepe was, Zach Steffen. The one guy I thought he might have brought just for if you're up in a game or tying in a game and you need somebody to run and work and grind, who's also a great locker room guy, who's going to train well every day. I thought Ariola would be good in that role. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of wingers and attacking guys like that, but do you have someone who can just lock down a game at the end and just do all the dirty work? I thought he would have been really good in that role. So that was probably the biggest surprise in that way.
I was shocked that he wasn't a part of it, just because he's been a part of the process the whole way through. But I'm curious, now that you've been a manager for some time now, looking at this group, what stands out to you in terms of tactics and formations? Do you think it's the right setup with this young group, and there's not really a true nine yet that's developed? Mm-hmm. Would you play with the false nine? Would you, go with Ferrer? Would you go with Sargent? What is your take on that nine spot, and then just the tactics that this group has been playing with?
Probably depends on the game, right? I mean, if you can make the case, you just get your best players on the field. I mean, you could play any of them there. You could play Christian as a false nine. You could play Gio there. You could play Brenden Aaronson there. You could play Weah there. I mean, it would look a little unconventional, but it probably depends on what the game looks like. If you have a ton of the ball and you're just pummeling a team in there, and I think Wales are a team that'll probably just drop off and be content to sit in. Maybe you want someone on the field who can get in front of the goal and score goals like Ferreira, like Sargent. But, if you're sitting and you're in for long stretches, like against England, and you need to get out of pressure and break pressure and counter, maybe just get some horses on the field who can run and just, let Christian go run and Gio go run. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how Gregg puts it all together. The interesting thing about this roster too is when there's 23 guys on a roster, there's always, 2 or 3 guys you probably don't expect to play. Now there's 26. So there's probably 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who will literally never touch the field. And I talked to someone in US Soccer last week, and he said, we made decisions on this roster, or, from he was aware of the decisions on the roster, knowing that 4 or 5 of these guys have zero chance of getting on the field. So what did they add to the group to make the group better? I think that'd be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. What else is interesting is that I put my flag in the ground, LD, about a coach only being a coach for the team for one World Cup cycle. We've seen with Bob, it doesn't work in the second go around. With Jurgen, and I know Bruce had a second go around. I was a beneficiary of that, but I just feel like one and done is the way it should go. So I'm just, knowing, as Charlie correctly stated, that you're coaching San Diego Loyal and doing well. Are you really just biding your time to take over the team so you can be the coach for 2026? Because that would be a hell of a time to be a World Cup coach. Also, I should add that you have more combined goals and assists than any other player in American soccer history on the male side of things. And so, I mean, that would be pretty sweet.
What
Are
does
you?
that have to do with being a good coach?
I just think it gives you some
credibility.
credibility.
Well, Landon,
Cachet.
come on. If you were just some random guy, would you have gotten the job at San Diego as it was? You came with a nice
Thank
little
you,
book of
Heath.
business.
Thank
You
you.
came with a nice book of business, to
Thank
look at. But
I'm just planting that seed for everybody. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. 'Cause I hope we smash this World Cup, and Gregg wants to do it again, and then they smash it in 26. So
All right. So
Maybe
he's taking
wait-
over in 30. He's
wait
taking
out.
over in 30. 2030 is Landon Donovan time.
I'm thinking more like 2068 when it comes back to
I feel like you're ready for that next step in just Major League Soccer. If the right possibility comes on
Yeah, maybe.
across your table.
yeah, maybe.
Landon, for you,
Wow.
for you as a player transitioning into the coaching side of things, how big of a challenge has that been for you to have that coach's perspective, right? We're talking about Gregg Berhalter. We see a number of former national team players, non-national team players become coaches after playing. I mean, how big of a challenge is that on a daily basis to sort of separate yourself from the player while staying connected, knowing that you were once that guy, but you also have to make tough decisions that perhaps maybe you didn't know were happening when you were playing?
Yeah, that's right. So what it does, I mean, you guys were all in the locker room like I was on that side of it, and you see things through like one very narrow lens. Now you see it through the context of everything that goes on. So it just gives you more perspective, but then ultimately just more compassion, because when Jurgen didn't take me in 2014, when any of us were not picked for a team or picked for a game, you're kind of feeling it in your own way, but then seeing it through how a coach deals with that and how difficult that is too has given me a lot of perspective. So you go from worrying about yourself and maybe like one of your teammates or whatever to worrying about 25 different guys, and that's certainly challenging, but I like it. I think it's a lot of fun.
Hey, I'm still bitter, by the way, that Jurgen didn't take you. I just want to put that out there.
Put your flag in the ground there too.
It's firmly in the ground. I'm still not buying what he's selling about anything he has to say about that. But,
Well, I was trying to get him there with shock omissions, but he didn't go there on his own, so I had to leave it alone,
With Christian Pulisic being the player that with, I think, the most expectations, probably the highest ceiling when he's playing at his best, and you have always been a player that delivers when the time is needed. Like, you stepped up. Christian going into this World Cup, not playing with his club team, a lot of people say, oh, he's not in form, he's not confident, he has struggled with the U.S. because he put so much expectations on him. What would you suggest to him to be at his best, to see that difference, for him to fulfill that potential, given that you're able to deliver at the biggest stage?
Yeah, so that doesn't come through one conversation. That took me years and years of therapy, literally, to just get to a place. So just running through my history, in 2002, I come on as a 20-year-old and carefree, can just play, have fun, whatever. 2006, I really did feel those expectations, and I had a terrible World Cup. And it took me a long time after that, through therapy, to really understand why I played that way, how to deal with those pressures. And then in 2010, I was able to play again, just carefree, like I was 20 again. So it takes time to understand those things about yourself. That's why I just said, I hope Christian can you can't wish it and make it happen, but I hope for his sake, he just plays carefree, because he's so good. He's so fun to watch, and he could literally light up the tournament. I mean, when he's at his best, he can be one of the best players in the tournament. And that's what I hope for him.
Of course, the World Cup that I play in is the one that you weren't carefree. I thought maybe being your teammate was going to get you there, but it's all good. All right.
It was definitely Landon's fault. It was Landon's fault, Jimmy.
No.
Let's be honest.
I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. Okay, so I just heard that you swiped right on a new relationship with Auto Trader, and so I want to know a little bit more about what you're doing with them, because we're all trying to guess how many car dealerships you have over here, and if you're the king of the Inland Empire, what's happening with Auto Trader?
First of all, is swipe right. I don't do those things. Is that good or bad?
That's good. That's a good thing. You're swiping right. You really like what Auto Trader.
Yeah, you're committing to it. You know, you're taking a chance.
You're taking a chance.
All right. So here's what happened. I needed help selling our 2008. Well, it was my wife's parents' 2008 BMW, but it was sitting in our garage. And I said, babe, before I leave, I need to get this out of the house. So our friends at Auto Trader said, sure, we'll help you out. She went on and sold it. And then an hour later, she came back with like 15 options of new cars we needed, which we don't need a new car. That's the problem when you go on a website like Auto Trader, all of a sudden you're trying to buy stuff you don't need. So my hope is when I get back from Qatar, we don't have a new car. If we do, it's your fault, Jimmy. I'm putting that back.
Oh, man, that's a lot of responsibility over here.
Well, don't mess it up.
That's fair. Hey, Landon, I got a question for you, just in terms of, you know, we just mentioned Christian Pulisic, and obviously there was a lot of pressure on you because you were the guy. Obviously, we had DeMarcus Beasley coming up at the same time, but you were the guy, and I feel like this group now, while very young, has a number of players that can help to alleviate some of those pressures in terms of quality and talent and where the opportunities could come from. Now, we haven't seen that production necessarily in front of the goal, but do you feel like we are going into a generation where a player like you, had you played with this group, might have had less pressure or felt less pressure? Or do you still think, because of the fact that you came up at the age that you did with all the sort of pressure on your shoulders, that you sort of carry that for your whole career?
Yeah, but it's all relative, right? Because we talk about pressure. I mean, when we were all playing, if you had a bad game, like it showed up in the newspaper the next morning or whatever. But now, within seconds, you miss a chance, and there's like 10,000 people telling you how terrible you are.
Yeah,
right?
People say PFOC didn't make the World Cup because he missed a chance against Mexico.
Right, and that, you know, it's. I mean, that's
Charlie,
the reality.
Charlie said that, by the way. Charlie said that.
What do you know about pressure?
But that's the world these guys live in, right? So that is, you know, ultimately we're human beings, and if your peers are not accepting of something you did, you're gonna feel that, right? So like, if you make a mistake and social media is blowing up with all the mistakes you made, I hate it. I hate it for players these days, but I think they get it. They know it's not real, but it feels real. You know, we're all human and we feel those things. So I just hope they can, I'll say it again and over, I hope they can just let all that go, kind of just take it on as a group. You know, it's not Weston putting it on his shoulders. It's not Christian putting it on his shoulders. I think a guy who can really, really help with that is Brenden Aaronson. He's playing insane right now, and just let him just go play freely and maybe score a goal or two and get a result, and then just let things calm down and let them be carefree.
If they do succeed and get through the group stage to get out in the knockout rounds, who's the player or the players that have helped them get through? If you say this is a picture perfect way for them to get through, how is it done?
Well, we have to defend well. I mean, that's going to be the challenge. I think we're good enough to score goals all over the field. You know, there's players all over the field who can score, but we got to defend well. So Walker Zimmerman has to be really good. Matt Turner's going to have to be really good. But the guy who really, really makes this team go is Weston. When they're at their best, I mean, Christian, of course, Brenden in the way he's playing, but when Weston is at his peak, he's unstoppable and he's unplayable. And, you know, I've been critical of him in the past for some of his decisions off the field, but that's why, because he's so valuable to this team. And I think if he's at his best, we can be really good.
So, Landon, I have going back to what you said before about being carefree. How much do you think, I know the bigger onus of it is on the player, right, the individual, but how much influence, now that you're a coach, do you think the coach has, Gregg Berhalter, in getting his team in that headspace? And what's interesting when I look at the three opponents, I actually think we're going to play our best against England because they are so heavily favored in every game that they're going to play, and that we can play carefree walking into that. But when I look at Wales and Iran, there's a lot of expectation, especially from casual fans that are always tuning in once every 4 years, that we should walk over those teams, you know, and I think the players can feel that as well.
Yeah, you guys know. Wales that's not an easy game. It's not like,
No, right.
we thought Slovenia was going to be an easy game. That's not
Or
an easy
Algeria.
game. Or Algeria, right. We could have lost that game easily. So none of these games are easy. It doesn't happen that way. So, yeah, you might be right, Jimmy. I mean, maybe the England game is when we play our best. But I find it hard to believe that a group of 22, 23-year-olds playing in their first World Cup aren't going to be so at it against Wales. I mean, they are going to be so fired up, right? I don't know how they wouldn't show up ready to play. Now, to your point about how much does a coach influence, I think a lot. And Gregg has I think a really good way with the guys. Just watching them react on the video when Gregg told them that they were going to the World Cup and the way they view him and see him, I think he's done a remarkable job with a group of young guys, and I think they'll be ready. I don't have any question about that.
And for you personally, Landon, do you? Because I struggled with this for a long time after not playing. Actually, when I retired, I hadn't been in the national team for quite a few years, but it took me a long time to want to watch the national team. I could go to club games, I could go to anywhere, but do you still feel a little bit when the national team is playing? Do you still feel something? You do broadcasts, you do all kinds of things, you coach, but do you still find it hard at times to just sort of sit back and enjoy a national team game?
Yeah, I find it hard to just sit back and enjoy it because I'm stressed watching. When you're watching qualifiers, it's really stressful. I was really stressed out with a young group after what happened in 2018. I wasn't convinced that we started qualifying pretty poorly, if you remember. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't convinced we were going to get out of it. So I'm excited to go watch a World Cup as a fan, but I think the U.S. games are going to cause me a lot of stress.
I'm with you. Every game I'm stressed. There's never a comfortable feeling.
No.
Give me your starting 11 for Wales.
Oh boy. For Wales or against Wales?
Against Wales.
I would love for you to go into the Wales 11. That would be so great.
Well, Kiefer Moore, Dan James just scored on the weekend.
Is Gareth Bale starting against the U.S.?
All right, let's go through it. Okay.
Well, you're going to make Charlie mad just before you start because he's got Brenden Aaronson coming off like third off the bench. So
no,
yeah, all right.
All right.
Matt Turner.
Left to right. Jedi. Tim Ream.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise pick there. Walker.
No, we're all on the same
page. We're all on the same page with that. Yeah.
Walker.
Dest.
Yedlini.
Over Dest?
Wow. I worry about him defensively sometimes.
Wow.
Like if Dan James is out there.
Okay.
You know what? I like it.
You want my 11 or Heath?
Yeah.
No, we want your 11.
Guys, leave him alone. Leave the man alone. Let him give us the
comments.
Jimmy's trying to pick you apart already. God.
I'm just saying.
All right. Tyler, Weston, Eunice.
Mm-hmm.
Christian as a false 9.
Okay.
Gio and Brenden.
Wow.
Is that
I like this manager.
Plot twists.
Is Weston more sick, like a 6-ish? Is he?
Yeah, but he can do it also. But Tyler, and Eunice in there are so good together.
So good.
So good together.
So let's just say then Weston might not be ready to go for this first game. Mm-hmm. Who? Let's say he's not. Who would your lineup? Your lineup would change, but who would you put in? Would you drop Gio or Brenden centrally, and then maybe bring Timo Weah in, or what would you do?
Maybe play Brenden next to Tyler.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very offensive lineup, but whatever.
But he presses crazy. He presses crazy, and then.
I know, but that's you got to be safe at times too. So.
All right. Before we let you go, we appreciate your time, Mr. Landon Donovan. We have a tradition here on the In Soccer We Trust show where we ask all of our special guests, and you're the most special of these special guests, to give us your best jersey swap throughout your career, and then conversely, or in addition, you're the swap that didn't work out. Like you went to go get Ronaldinho's or something, and he kind of gave you the finger wag, like the Dikembe Mutombo, like now we're not going to switch. Yeah, in the tunnel. What do you got for us?
All right, take this the right way. I never asked. Actually, I shouldn't say I never asked anyone for a jersey. If it was a friend or former teammate, I would ask for a jersey. That's why I never asked for any of yours.
I was just trying to remember. Did he ever ask?
How?
For my
Wait.
jersey?
So how am I
Hey,
supposed to
I
take
got
this?
the swap in the final at the 2014.
I'm taking that the right way.
I'm taking it the right way too.
Best. Do you guys remember a defender named Lucio?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
No, never heard of him.
I got his in Chicago.
I don't know. I don't know how old you got.
Confeds Cup final or what? Where'd you get?
I think it was a friendly. I think it was a friendly at the Rose Bowl where like I didn't touch the ball for 90 minutes because he just dominated me. And I had played with I played with him at
Bayern.
At Leverkusen and at Bayern. And at Bayern.
Was he by the way, was he still he was a forward up until the Olympic age when he became a defender? He was Lucy was a forward.
That guy used to take like he would win a ball, win a tackle, and he'd just run for like 50 yards through the middle. And he just couldn't get near him. He was a tank.
Well, at least that jersey must fit you because you're 6'4". I traded with Lucio in Chicago in the friendly in Chicago, and it literally goes down past my knees, and I'm like, what can I do with this? Guys,
not everyone can be tall like me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lucio's your best. Okay, what's maybe I guess if you haven't asked for any, you don't have any.
Do you get any in the
Yeah. I mean, look, my 100th cap was against Messi in Argentina.
Jeez, that's like a double flex right there. That's pretty impressive.
I kind of do wish that was kind of a double flex. I kind of do wish I had asked for his jersey. That would have been cool. But you know, guys, some things you regret in life.
No,
Ain't that the truth?
That's the truth. We all have our own baggage with that statement. All right, everybody, Landon Donovan. Thank you so much for joining the In Soccer We Trust podcast, and for everybody listening, we appreciate you. Thank you for all the love and support, and best of luck in Qatar, calling the games for the World Cup, Mr. Landon Donovan. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. Safe travels for those that are going to Qatar. And if I come home and my wife bought a car on Auto Trader, it's your fault, Jimmy.
I'll take it.
For sure.
Way to go, Auto Trader.